Hey there. There comes a moment in life that feels strangely unsettling. It is the moment you begin to realize that the people you looked up to, the people who seemed so certain, so composed, so sure of what they were doing, are often figuring things out as they go too. When we're younger, it's easy to imagine that adulthood is a place where uncertainty finally ends, that one day you wake up knowing exactly what to do, how to make every decision, how to avoid every mistake, how to build a meaningful life without second-guessing yourself. But life has a quiet way of revealing something different. The older you get, the more you notice that certainty is much rarer than confidence makes it appear. People change careers they once believed were forever. Relationships evolve in ways no one predicted. Plans fall apart. New dreams appear unexpectedly. Even the people who seem the most established still wrestle with questions they cannot answer, not because they have failed, but because life keeps asking new questions, and no one graduates from that. I wonder how much pressure you've been carrying because you assumed everyone else knew something you didn't. Maybe you've looked around and thought, everyone seems so far ahead. Everyone else knows where they're going. Why am I the only one who still feels unsure? But what if certainty has been quieter than you imagined? What if many of the people you admire are simply taking the next step without pretending they can already see the entire road? There is something deeply human about that. For a long time, I think we mistake confidence for complete understanding. We imagine that wise people never doubt themselves, that capable people never hesitate, that successful people always know the right answer. But wisdom is rarely the absence of uncertainty. More often, it is the willingness to keep moving while admitting that you do not know everything yet. That is a different kind of strength, not the strength of having every answer, the strength of no longer needing to. Because perhaps the goal was never to solve your entire life before living it. Perhaps it was simply to become someone willing to learn from each chapter as it arrives. Think about the people who have made you feel safest. Chances are it wasn't because they always had the perfect advice. It was because they listened, because they were honest when they didn't know, because they didn't pretend to be more certain than they really were. There is something deeply reassuring about people who make room for mystery instead of trying to conquer it.
Maybe you can offer yourself that same grace. You do not have to know exactly where your life is headed to keep living it well. You do not have to predict every outcome before making a decision. You do not have to wait until every question is answered before allowing yourself to begin. The truth is, some of the most meaningful parts of your life will arrive as surprises, not because you planned them perfectly, but because you stayed open long enough to meet them. So if you've been feeling behind because you don't have everything figured out, perhaps you've been measuring yourself against an illusion. The people around you are not carrying a secret map. They're carrying experience, hope, doubt, courage, disappointment, and curiosity, just like you. Some simply hide the uncertainty better than others, but hidden is not the same as absent. So tonight, let yourself put down the exhausting belief that everyone else has already solved life while you're still searching. They haven't. They're searching too. Some quietly, some confidently, some with more questions than answers. And somehow, life keeps meeting them anyway. It will meet you too. Not because you finally discovered every answer, but because a meaningful life has never belonged only to the people who knew exactly where they were going. It has always belonged to the people who were willing to keep walking, even when they didn't. And if that's where you are today, still learning, still wondering, still taking the next honest step, then you're not behind. You're simply living the same human story the rest of us are, one unanswered question at a time.